Whoops. Hello? Hello, folks. I think I'm live. I think so. We're going to say yes. Okay. Hi. All right, so today I prepped my clay. If you were here last time, I had a little bit of a mental breakdown trying to work with monster clay, which is what we have here. We're really zoomed in. My camera is manual focus today, so we're not going to zoom out again. We're going to stay right here. This is, and see how squishy it is today because I actually prepped it beforehand. Look at that. Isn't that crazy? But I want to make some little toppers for these little bronze trinket boxes that I plan on making. I'm going to make this bottom a bunch of times and make a bunch of different tops so that I can have a bunch of versions that are all the same size. But today's plan is to make a little doohickey for the top. Don't really know what I want to put on there, so I figured I'm just gonna lop off a couple big chunks of this clay and then just like go for it. So that's what we're doing today. I'm going to get out my trusty butter knife and before this cools down, because it does actually cool down pretty quickly. So it's been in the oven for about 45 minutes. And if I were to leave it in there for longer, it would become like soup. Really, really hot, dangerous soup. I did that the first time and I was like, whoa, this is hazardous. This is a hazard. So, I don't recommend putting it in the oven for too long. Oh, hi, Steve. It does kind of have a brownie batter kind of consistency, which is awesome. But like, also silly putty, like the most satisfying silly putty that you ever did see. It's really, really squishy and nice, but it gets really rock hard super fast, so I have to like get it into the position I want it to be in very quickly before it hardens. And then I'm going to sculpt the rest of it with like tools and stuff. But I don't know what I want to make, so I'm just going to make like random shapes and then set them aside to harden. That's kind of the plan here. This is like a thing sitting. Maybe it'll be a llama. I don't know. We want it to be small enough to fit on top of these little dudes. So that's the plan here. Interchangeable. All right, so there's one little guy. Give him some legs or something here. Maybe he looks like a seal or something. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with that, but there's one. Start with one before my clay hardens like a rock on me again. I realize I probably should. Oops, there's a piece of a pecan in my clay, probably because I just took it out of the oven and in a very haphazard type of way. But I do need to buy the version of this clay that is not, that doesn't harden like cement. This is the hardest version they make. They make three different versions of this clay. This is the hardest one. I bought the hardest one because the internet told me it was the most like wax, which I don't agree with at all. So the internet steered me wrong on that, I'm gonna say. All right, let's do another shape and then go with it. I don't know what I'm thinking of. Oh, I was thinking of making like a little elephant. So let's. No, that's not what elephants look like. What was the little elephant guy? I'm trying to picture in my brain. I did a little sketch kind of recently of a little elephant man. Did you know that elephants can sit like on their rear ends like people? Like they just like plop down like not on furniture obviously because they would break it, but like kind of like they were sitting on furniture. The internet is full of videos and pictures of elephants like sitting down like people, and it's hilarious. Fun fact. So I was sort of thinking like fat little elephant sitting down. I don't know. Elephants used to be my jam. When I was a kid, I was like a big elephant enthusiast. They were my favorite animals. But I'm also gonna squish the bottoms of these because you see Dumbo? Yeah, there's some Dumbo type vibes here for sure. I have to squish the bottoms because I want this to sit on the top of this guy, like so. But also I can flatten them at a different time. So I don't know if that's really a big deal. Oh, goodness gracious. I haven't drank any water at all today, I just realized, and I probably should do that. I did pour myself a glass of water, but quite literally have not drank any water all day. Ah, damn. I hear chaos downstairs. My cat is doing something crazy. I don't know. He's just yelling now. He's just doing that thing where cats just scream for no reason. I just fed them, so I don't know what his deal is. Come here. See if he actually answers me. Comes upstairs. All right. So we've got an elephant starting. They're already starting to get hard. Isn't that crazy? I really hope the softer versions of this clay is not quite so like goes from being silly putty to cement in 5 seconds. But I have a piece of foil. You hear all that obnoxious sounds that I'm making, and I'm trying to keep the heat in because, like I said, hardens like a friggin' rock in like a very, very short period of time. I feel like I need some kind of a humanoid creature. Ow, for this next one. I kind of debate whether or not going between like just straight up adorable woodland creatures or, you know, mythical beasts. Let's make this a little person. Not a little person, but head, shoulders, knees, and toes. These little jerks downstairs are fighting with each other now. Hear them down there, causing chaos. All right. I think it's time to bring some tools into the mix here because my hands are tired. And this is going to start getting hard really fast. And I don't really, damn it, cat hair. I don't particularly want to struggle with it after the fact. So there's kind of an element of speed sculpting here that your average person is not going to enjoy at all. So yeah, this is definitely not the tutorial that most people want. It's like sculpt as fast as you possibly can. Again, with the softer material, this would definitely not be a thing. Okay. Feet, legs. This is like a chonky little woman. Um, she's got like a serious badonkadonk, which is fine. Maybe we'll work with that, honestly. We're gonna work with that. All right. She looks like maybe part fish or something. Like a chonky mermaid. That'd be kind of fun, right? Chonky mermaid. Let's go with that. Give her a little fishtail before it gets way too hard to work with. But it's gonna be a chonky one. She's gonna be a little, maybe some little rolls. Because I don't know. Break the mold on this one here. All right. It has gotten to a point where it is very hard, so I'm going to need to get my torch, lamp, whatever it's called. I need to get that out. So I also need to be careful because the last time I did this, I started a fire, a small one, but a fire nonetheless. Turns out this stuff is, another way it is unlike wax is that it is flammable. So that's fun. It's a fun fact that we need to be aware of at all times. Because I like to get my tools hot, as I will show you here in a moment. I like to use a little alcohol lamp thing here. Which is also low on alcohol, so I'm going to fill it up. But these things, I get a lot of questions about this. People are always like, what is that? It is like a $3 alcohol lamp that I bought in, I don't know actually, maybe Amazon, but probably from a jewelry store or jewelry like supply place. But you quite literally just put rubbing alcohol in this sucker and then light it on fire and it stays lit for a long time. But this is how I keep my tools hot for sculpting. Oops. It's not ready to be lit yet. Essentially, you just heat up the end of a tool, and it helps you sculpt things that are rock hard, like these little doohickeys here that are rock hard. Ow. But you also have to wait for the wick, for the wick that goes through here to get saturated with alcohol, or it won't light. So it apparently was quite dry. I haven't used it in a few days, so we're gonna give it a second. While that is soaking up some booze, I'm also going to hydrate with water. Not booze. That would be very bad. I have been looking forward, honestly, to this sculpting session all day because I've been really, really stressed lately. Things are really, really stressful. Light, you little stinker. Nope, still not lighting. I don't want to smoke out my house, so I'm going to cover it for a minute. We're going to wait. But yeah, really, really stressed. There's a lot of things happening in the world that are unpleasant. and that's the understatement of the century. A lot of unpleasant things happening. Unpleasant for the world at large. But especially if you are a small business, because people are like, oh God, I can't pay my bills. And I'm over here like, hey, buy whimsical art. And they're like, no. That's kind of the problem I'm currently having. If you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm giving this voluptuous mermaid some um, voluptuous curves because she's got a very large rear end and a very small upper body, but we are going to fix that, aren't we? I think we are. Once I've got some firepower, this will be a lot smoother process. It gets a little choppy if you're just trying to cut away at it with without any heat, which is what I'm doing now, but yes, exactly, Steve. That's the reaction I'm going for here. You know, fun fact. I probably have mentioned this in other live streams, but one of my favorite things to do when I was younger and in college was live sculpting and drawing, like from models. And I gotta say, the curvy gals, so much more fun drawing and sculpting than the skinny ladies. They were all lovely human beings, don't get me wrong, but um, there's a lot more going on visually. I used to have a really good time live sculpting models. And they were like the coolest people ever because obviously people who are like totally fine with being completely nude in front of a classroom of teenagers essentially are your unique human beings. It was all in the name of art, obviously. Of course. But I've been thinking lately, like, it'd be kind of dope to find a live sculpting class and do that again. Can you just light? Good lord. I am having a hard time lighting my torch tonight. This thing usually lights very quickly. So I'm going to turn it upside down, which I would not recommend. Don't do this at home, folks, because you're more likely to spill alcohol all over the table. And then when you go to light it, you're just going to light your whole table on fire. But luckily, I'm not afraid of fire. And that is one of the main reasons that this is my career path. A lot of times people ask me how I got into it. See, look at that. Work like a champ. And they're like, oh, how can I get into sculpting and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, listen, yes, it's fun. But like before anything else, are you or are you not afraid of fire? Because it makes a very big difference. If you have any fear of fire at all, wrong career path. Casting metal is not for you. I'm sorry. I poured bronze the other day. Did not start any fires, which is great because bronze is definitely casting bronze is probably one of the more dangerous things that I do because it's a very high temp and I tend to be casting more like a higher quality or higher quantity of metal when I do bronze, and silver is like just little things, but bronze is usually sculptures and it's like big chunks of metal. And you gotta pour them pretty quickly or it'll solidify. And so there's kind of like an added element of urgency, which, you know, if you're already a little nervous because you're pouring 2000-degree lava, and then you're like, oh no, I need to hurry up. Obviously, you can see where you could potentially go astray with that. And yeah, I have filled bronze more than one occasion and lit some things on fire. Not in my own home, luckily. Off screen here, I'm just getting some little more chunks of this while it's still warm. But in college, we used to pour like tons of bronze, like huge quantities of bronze, and I never spilled it on myself, luckily, but spilling it near me, I've had it splash onto me, onto my clothing. It's kind of scary. Do not recommend. But I try my best to not have accidents like that in my own home because, you know, I don't want to burn my house down. But I'm hoping at some point my studio will be in an outbuilding, hopefully sometime in the near future. And I will be able to do way more dangerous stuff when that is the case because, you know, concrete floors and such are much more conducive than carpets and hardwoods, which obviously nobody wants to burn a giant hole through their hardwood floors. My basement obviously is concrete still, so I have dropped a little bit of metal here and there, and there's just like a little, you know, it just falls on the floor and rolls away. No big deal. Still, probably pushing my luck with that. All right, this lady needs a shoulder here. Whoops. Hopefully I've been like in focus this whole time because, you know, I haven't checked even once to see if I'm in focus. It looks like I'm mostly in focus. Yeah, seems okay. I didn't even think that I could have made this like like a chubby merman, which would have been probably even funnier and quirkier. And but you know what? I like a good voluptuous woman, so we're gonna stick with that. So her arms are not long enough currently. Working on it, I would say. Though I'm not sure this would even fit on top of the thing, which was in fact the reason we were doing this. But would it be the first time I got horribly off track for what I was supposed to be doing during a live stream? No. That's sort of my signature move, actually. I go, hey everybody, I'm gonna do this live stream, and this is what I'm gonna be doing, and then, surprise, surprise, I do something completely different. And that's probably more or less an ADHD thing, but also just go where the wind takes me, because that's just style. Sometimes I get working on something that just like is bombing me out or frustrating me, and I'm like, why am I working on a thing that is bumming me out or frustrating me? Because I can literally change and do whatever I want. That's the nature of art is like, something bumming you out, do something else. Um, since most of the time I do this for myself, obviously. Not that my live streams are really popping off these days, but you gotta start somewhere, you know what I mean? Laying the foundation here, hoping to be on YouTube more with more like tips and tricks and things when I have the energy for that. So hopefully that happens at some point. All right. Our little woman, I need to give her more shape here before I can get too crazy with the arms. But note how hard this can knock on this now. Isn't that wild? Like 10 minutes ago, it was squishy. Not anymore. All right. So we're going to, I guess we need to cut some of this out of here because it's just a big old blob here that does not belong. So we'll trim that out. I'm still kind of loving her overall shape. With the cost of silver going so bananas, kind of hoping that making little fun bronze miniatures kind of pans out for me because I would just do this all day if people would pay me for it. Unfortunately, silver jewelry is still like, you can always count on people wanting jewelry because jewelry is a way for people to express themselves and all of that jazz. Whereas, I mean, I guess sculpture also is. You put sculptures in your house and they are a source of self expression in your own home, I suppose. So maybe someone will really, really want a voluptuous mermaid in their house. I certainly hope so because she's going to be fabulous and I am excited about her. And this, I have to tell you, was not part of the plan at all. I was thinking like I would probably end up making, well, little Elephant Man still on the table. I may pivot to Elephant Man at some point because he's still cute. But he also is too normal for me. He's got to be weird. I got to weird him up somehow. So I'm not sure how I'm going to do that. Maybe give him a pair of wings. That's one of my go-tos when I want to make something weird. Like, throw some wings on that sucker. Flying elephant? Again, very Dumbo-like, actually, the flying elephant situation. But I actually really enjoy this material because right now it's like hard enough to carve, but soft enough that it's not like, if you've ever tried to like whittle, which I have tried, whittling actual wood, and I'm telling you that shit is not easy. Oops, sorry for swearing. Trying to keep it PG here because I found out recently that my parents, hi mom and dad, occasionally play my live streams for my nieces and nephews who are just small children. Hi guys. So, because it's relaxing, I guess. Watching Aunt Rox make things. Which, you know what? That's perfect. This was supposed to be relaxing. That's the whole idea. I want people to chill a little more. Chill and watch some sculpture happening. All right. So let's kind of assess the situation here. We need to do something with our arms because they are too short. Okay. Short little arms. I think what needs to happen is one of them needs to get tucked underneath the other one. And then we're going to have to probably prop up her entire body to make the length of her other arm appropriate. How you do that? Or we could essentially reposition her other arm so that she's got her just kind of scrunching up one shoulder. So we're going to go with that because that makes more sense to me. She's going to be propping herself up with one arm, and the other arm is going to be relaxed. So to relax the other arm, we got to cut, make more of an angle here, and put the majority of the arm behind her. See what I mean by that? Okay. Hearing some weird noises in my house. All right. So I think we still need to move that arm back a little bit. Oh, it was you. I knew I heard something. I thought it was a ghost. Not a ghost. It's kitty cat. Otherwise known as Problem Child, has entered the chat. My boy Tum Tums. He's now on the other side of the room chewing on a box. That's what he does. He causes chaos everywhere he goes. That's my boy. The boy. He's probably going to want to get on my lap in a second. He also likes doing that and making me nervous because then I almost light his little tail on fire. He gets way too close to the flame every time. Like his mother, not afraid of fire. All right. We still need to move arms. Arms are still not quite positioned right. Fire is like kind of in my face here. Okay. Trying to see how she sits. I have to think of an interesting hairstyle for her as well. You get a little bored making hair the same way all the time, so switch it up somehow. We're getting closer. A little bit. We want to make sure the muscles seem relaxed. You don't want to give her too rounded of shoulders because then she's going to look like she hits the gym. But relaxed shoulders, back and down. I do wonder if there are live sculpting classes around here. I feel like that seems like something that probably is not very readily available in my area of the world. This isn't exactly the artsiest town. We don't have a lot of, well, I mean, maybe colleges or something, but I'm not sure I'm allowed to go to a college course. Maybe I could, I don't know. I know there's a name for that. When you take a class and you don't want credit for it, you just want to sit there. I forget what it's called. I don't really want to take a class. I just want to sit in and make some stuff and then bounce without somebody trying to tell me what to do. I don't love being told what to do. It's not my favorite. Why is my torch going out already? Not sure what's going on here. I guess I gotta pull my wick out a little bit. There we go. That'll do. Now we're cooking. Now we're cooking with gas. Or alcohol, I guess. All right. Can't forget to drink this water because I literally am so dehydrated I feel like I might pass out. So I'm going to take breaks here and drink some water. I gotta say, one of the biggest bummers about YouTube live streams is that I'm not allowed to have music playing. Like, I wouldn't normally sit here in complete silence sculpting. That's extremely not like something I would ever do. Obviously, I'm talking so that you know what I'm doing and it isn't just me awkwardly sculpting. But if you weren't here right now, it would just be, you know, me totally in the zone. And I would probably have a Disney movie on in the background, honestly, which, again, I'm not allowed to do that. Copyright reasons, which is so silly. Because I'm not really trying to make money here. I'm just doing a live stream for fun. It's all about the money, though, all the time. I don't know what this is right now. What is this? No current live streams. I'm currently live streaming right now. What are you talking about? My computer's being stupid. There we go. There we are. Oh, look, there's actually people here. I had no idea. Hello. Um, I didn't turn on my little YouTube studio thing that tells me there are people. So I did not know. I really just genuinely just been talking to myself this whole time. And Steve, who I know is there somewhere. Or was there somewhere at some point. But I hope you're enjoying so far this my volume is very low. Uh-oh, okay. Very low. That's probably true. I wonder how I can turn that up. Let's see if I can figure that out. Whoopsies. Settings. Oh boy. This is probably not the time for me to try to mess with my microphone. So I will just try to talk louder because I don't actually know how to adjust the volume. I technically have it all the way up. But I was trying to get Jared to help me with it before he left for work, and he was running late, and it was like, I gotta go, and he just bounced, and I was like, well, crap. We were using the audio through my laptop instead of through my camera. My camera is above my head, so I thought that seemed like it'd be too far away, and then you wouldn't be able to hear me. So technically closer to my laptop. But whatever. I will just try not to whisper. Hopefully that's sufficient. But anywho, we're gonna go back to sculpting our voluptuous mermaid. Let me give her some butt cheeks. One of my favorite things to sculpt is butt cheeks. I know I bring that up a lot, but it's true. It's just fun. What can I say? I recently sculpted a little stick dude. Well, actually, one of my live streams, I made him, and he was adorable. And I gave him like a tiny little butt, and it was so funny. And I just cast him in bronze the other day, and his little butt cracked me up. Quite funny. We gotta polish him up soon, so you can all see him. Because I feel like it's been a long time since I just cast bronze. I think it's been like, honestly, probably like 6 months. I packed away all of my bronze casting stuff, and it was in my dad's workshop stored away until very recently when I was like, uh-oh, I have to cast bronze. So I had to go dig some of it out and bring it back to my house. And, get here. I really need to cast more bronze, or do it more frequently at least, because it's super duper fun. It's kind of stressful, but it's super fun. Whoa, cat, take it easy. Somebody's here to say hi. Here's the baby. Keep your face away from the fire. Thank you. This guy doesn't have any regard for personal space. Your hair is all over my tools already. You've been here for like 1 second. Literally have cat hair just like embedded in my sculpture tools. Why is that like that? Can you tell me why? I'm trying to get a new paper towel. Of course, now you're on my lap, and this is much harder to do. There, like that. Oh, having a cat on my lap is definitely an added challenge. He's a good little baby. Can you see his little face? Look at him. What a nice boy. There he is. Oops. Whoa. I'll just hang out here for a few minutes and then he'll leave. Alright. Little Mermaid Woman. I like her. She's good. We gotta figure out her. Get one boob bigger than the other. We gotta remedy that too. I don't know if we want to put some little funny little seashells on her or just let her be free. Probably just let her be free, let's be real. But we still need to get her arms situated here. Before I can start putting all the actual details in her body, I need her body to be right. But I think her hands can be out in front of her a little bit. Armpit spot. That comes up a little higher because she's leaning. All right. We'll do this one first, because I think this one's probably about where it's supposed to be. We need to give her a hand, though. She doesn't have enough meat on her hands. Oops, I'm whispering again, sorry. Alright, we're just gonna jam some wax, clay, whatever this is, where both hands go, and then that way I can sculpt them together. I like to just kind of get an idea of general shape, as long as the length of the arms is correct. That's like the main thing I'm trying to go for right here, is like making sure she's got appropriate proportions, which I think she does at this point. Whoops. And then we kind of shape in the hands. But we're not going to get too crazy with the hands at first because, yo, Tom's, come on now, bud. Whoa, 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 whoa. Tail. Okay. You gotta watch that thing. You're gonna get lit on fire, sir. Okay. Are we still in frame? We are. Okay. Just checking. I don't know if you can hear my cat purring, but he's like in my face, purring like a maniac. happy. He's a happy boy. Okay. Little mermaid woman with her little hands in front of her, like so. Cut in where her wrists will be. I don't know if you can tell I have a cat just like lounging over my arm like a weirdo. You can just barely see his little head in this other video. Oh gosh. Okay. Gotta love them. My fellow cat people know what it's all about. If a cat wants to sit on your lap, you have to make it work somehow. However possible. Even if they're making your life difficult, you have to just allow it. It is what it is. Let's say I kind of want to move this arm. Let me give it more of a different position. I'm not a big fan. So we're going to move her arm, this whole arm. Whoops. This one's going to stay down, flat, in front of her. And this one's going to be kind of, I don't know yet. We're going to see. I mean, I kind of want to move it back a lot and have it kind of hanging out on her side. I'm going to do it. Screw it. There are no rules here. I'm going to do whatever I want to do. So, we are very quickly going to move her arm back, and this is how we're going to do it. You change the angle at the shoulder. You take the meat from the front, and you move it to the back. Smooth it out. Tummy. Okay. I don't know if you see the arm, the cat arm raking itself through my hair. Can you chill, dude? Fool. What a fool. Alright, anyways, back to moving this arm. I think this is gonna be the right move. Sir. You're being a little bit ridiculous. Oh, he's just running his paws through my hair. Totally normal behavior for a cat. He does love doing that, and it's really cute. And I let it happen because it's so cute. Sometimes he gets caught in my hair, and that's not as cute, but I recently cut his fingernails, so it's all good. Alright. I am immediately happier with my choice to move her arm. It's gonna rest a little more naturally. Ow, dude, please stop. It's gonna rest more naturally on her body, and then she's gonna have just her hand kind of relaxed on top of her belly, maybe. This also allows me to shape her underside here a little bit better, because when they're with this hand in the way, couldn't really reach it. But now I can. Now we have full access here for sculpting some bellies and some hands. Perfect. All right. Would love it if you would stop licking me. Thank you. All right. So I need to steal a little bit of that from there. All right. Much better. Much more natural. I like it. Now we gotta just trim down her tail a little bit. And add a little bit more to her forearm here because it took a little too much off. Okay. Water break. Mm-hmm. All right. Stretch once in a while. Sitting like a shrimp. Oh, my back's killing me. Doesn't take much. Need a little more for her hand because she doesn't have a thumb, so we're gonna put her thumb back in there. But we're not gonna get crazy because I don't want to put too many details in her hand, just in case I decide I want to put her entire arm in a new location again, because I do that a lot. I like to see where things look right. If you kind of have to, like, I don't know, I can't commit to a posture necessarily from the get-go. Like, if I were, for example, carving out of stone or something, I'd be in trouble because like way more planning goes into that. You have to have sketches and all that stuff ahead of time so you know exactly where you're putting those cuts and you don't mess them up. Whereas obviously sculpting with clay is like, you know, you can just kind of go for it. And if you don't like something, cut it, take it away, put it somewhere else, or get a blob of clay and put it back. It's one of those lovely materials that you can really go for it and just make your edits. Who cares? Do what you want to do. What you want to do. All right. So we need to get his arm situated. Our other arm is much bigger than this arm, so we need to beef up this arm a little bit. My dang freaking lamp keeps going out. It's getting on my GD nerves, I have to say. Come on. There we go. Now we're flaming. A lot easier to add material when you have fire to help you. Take a chunk on there, kind of smooth it in like that. There we go. That's the thickness her arm is supposed to be. Perfect. That feels right. All right. Still need more right here. Did I just take all of that away a second ago? Yes, I did. Am I putting it back again? Yes, I am. Do I care? No. No, I don't. Just try and stop me. Dare you. All right. We're going to leave her arm alone here because I think it's pretty close to what I want it to be. And then I'm going to go back to getting the rest of her body proportionally correct. So we got belly, but then her knees jut out here. So we need to cut in here a little bit for belly. I'm going to leave her hand on her belly because I kind of like that about her. She's like, yeah, it's my belly. Check it. But she's definitely in a posture of bent. She's got bent knees. I don't know if mermaids have knees, but whatever. You know what I mean. Lower body fold. I don't know. All right. I'm having fun though. I highly recommend the haphazard sculpting of a blob and then turning it into something is like super duper satisfying. If you have clay access, you should try it out. It's very fun, very fun. Because you kind of instinctually like start smushing things in a certain pattern, just like either because that's you always make things a certain way and your brain just does it automatically, or you have an idea in your brain that you maybe don't realize is there, and then you see it in front of you and you go, aha, yes, that's the thing I was gonna make. Like, I don't know about you, but often I see shapes and like characters in like if I stare at like the rug or at the ceiling for too long, I start to see images in the patterns of, you know, quilts and stuff like that. And it's almost always the subjects of things that I like. It's my own brain making those pictures in front of me. They're not really there. So I think it's kind of the same thing with taking a blob of clay and just seeing where it goes. I think this little lady is going to be just a delight. I'm really into it. I'm just going to leave her, put a little crease where her tail is bending again here. I may leave her a little rough because I think that is kind of becoming a style of mine, is to kind of have a, I want the texture of my blade to be permanently in there. I don't know, there's just something about it. Things that are too polished, especially this day and age where like everything fake in this world has like a very, I don't know, weirdly smooth vibe, in a way that like kind of grosses me out. I've always kind of liked the rough texture of clay, and bronze picks up texture so beautifully. So like this little lady cast in bronze will have, you know, I mean, you can look and see. Actually, you can't get it closer to my camera because then we're out of focus. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Oh, there we go. Okay. See, a little texture in here that you can only really achieve with a soft material and a blade, the little scrapes and lines. I freaking love that. I love the way that looks in metal, the way it picks up a patina. It's all just, I mean, I guess that's art. I love sculptures that have a little bit of a raw feel to them. Um, the most recent museum we've been to, which is sad because it was like literal years, many years ago, was um, the Rodin Museum in Philadelphia, which was so freaking cool. I'd love to go back there. It was so beautiful. Everything there was like, you know, this guy had such a unique style. And the more popular stuff that he made that everyone's more familiar with um, was definitely not the only style he had. He made a lot of stuff in completely different styles. He clearly was experimenting and seeing what he liked to do. He wasn't really set in one particular way, which I think most artists have a style that kind of morphs through time, and you stop liking certain things, or you discover a certain style that you love, and then you kind of go a different direction midway through your life. um, but that's why art is so cool when it's made by real people, because if you see a lot of art by one person, you can kind of track their growth as a person and an artist. Like people change. That is the nature of humans. Um, at least I think we're all supposed to change. People that don't change are questionable. Um, you definitely should want to grow and explore things and find different hobbies and interests and that kind of thing throughout your life. I've always been obsessed with bronze. I don't think that will ever change, but you never know. I might find a new material that I enjoy, but in the meantime, bronze is where it's at. I love bronze. Silver is okay, I guess. It's very pretty, but as you can tell, I do have my wedding ring on actually, but that's the only piece of jewelry I ever wear. I sometimes wear obviously the one that my husband gave me, which is gold, but I wouldn't wear it when I'm working because I ruin everything. I'm a slob. And my hand is almost always down against the table, and I don't want to make a big old mess and get my rings all full of um, clay and scratched up on my table. So I really don't wear jewelry, so I have a hard time like loving it. You know what I mean? Like I know that people love jewelry. I get it. And I'm grateful for those people because I am able to eat food because of those people. So thank you to anyone who's watching who buys jewelry for me. I do deeply appreciate you. Um, you are the reason I'm able to sit here in front of this very tight knit community, this very small amount of people, and sculpt um, for the joy of it. I'm extremely grateful that I can do this. And while it is a very stressful line of work, obviously, I think I'm doing okay, and I'm gonna keep at it because I think this is just what I'm supposed to be doing. I don't think there's other things that I'm better suited for, to be honest, though. Maybe one thing, which may come as a surprise to some of you in the coming months, because I have a project launching that has absolutely nothing to do with art. I mean, it is creative, but it is not visual arts. Um, so hold on to your hats. Anywho, um, yeah, I don't know what the hell I was talking about, honestly, but this lady is coming along. I like her. Hello! There's a new person in my chat. Hi there. How did I get started in casting my sculptures in metal? Um, well, good question. I went to college for technically painting, which I haven't done now in years. I hate painting now. I don't know. I went to school because I was like, I love to paint, and then very abruptly stopped painting forever, and got super into um, the sculpture studio, obviously, here we are, and casting in bronze was immediately super addicting. I learned how to cast in the foundry at my college. I went to Hartwick College, and pretty much from that moment on, I learned how to cast in college. So I was 18, and then yeah, I learned how to do it there, and then I actually had a job where I became a mold maker briefly out of college, which very much helped me make the transition between sculpting in other materials like clay and still be able to cast them in bronze because I had the knowledge of making molds so that I didn't have to directly cast, which in college, everything we made was a one-off. There was no molds. If I wanted to sculpt this little mermaid woman, I would have made her in wax, and then we would have cast her directly. That one piece, it would have been directly made into bronze. There would be no molds, no way to make a second one. Um, and so that's how I learned how to do it in college. And then when I got this job of making molds, I learned that I could mold my sculpture before casting it. And that opened up a world of opportunity when it came to making jewelry, especially. And that's when my business sort of launched because I realized, oh, I have the skills here to sculpt all my own things, mold them, and cast them in my own home. Um, so really, all my sculptures are metal. They've always been metal from the start. I don't have I don't have any prior background in sculpting in anything else. I never actually sculpt in like traditional clay. The one class I did not take in college was ceramics, believe it or not. So I never sculpted with um, water-based clay. I kind of always hated it. Like I had friends who were in ceramics and um, that clay dust like all over everything all the time. I found it infuriating, and the way that it dried out when you were like in the middle of working in it with it, I was like, this is annoying. You can't just stop a project and come back to it. You had to like douse it in water and wrap it in plastic and this whole production. Um, so my introduction to sculpture right away was sculpting wax and directly casting it in metal. That was like sculpture 101 for me, and then we've just elaborated on that ever since with experimenting with different ways to make molds, different size molds. Right now, I am only able to sculpt and cast smallish things like this because the current facilities that I have are not large enough, or it wouldn't really be safe, to be totally honest, to sculpt or to cast large scale bronze stuff. In college, I made big stuff, real big, human sized things out of bronze. And that's like the ultimate goal. I was the happiest I've ever been doing that. And I would love, love, love to do that again. That was the coolest, absolutely the coolest time of my life. Um, but we had a very large facility there, and we could cast very large things, um, which is pretty impractical for your average solo artist. I'd have to build a foundry that could allow me to build rigs that could hoist up huge molds, which, I mean, you can buy hoists, I guess, that would be able to hold them, but um, bronze is super duper heavy, so anytime you start sculpting things that are large, weight is obviously an issue. You can't just pop a little mold into a kiln with your hands if it weighs 150 pounds. So, problems, logistics, unfortunately, have kept me from making um, more art in metal recently because of that problem. But I'm sticking with little things because I'm hoping that I can make smaller things and kind of work my way back up to larger things as I gain my confidence in working with bronze again because, excuse me, silver is very, I don't want to say easy, but it's a lot less stress than bronze. Mainly because the temperature that you're working with is so much less. Um, Bronze is like significantly hotter, a hotter metal, and more can go wrong with the heat being higher up. I mean, maybe not. Maybe that's more in my head than anything else, but it feels like more is on the line when I'm casting bronze. So I'm kind of trying to get over that, start sculpting more because I really, really love the detail that bronze casting allows for. And it's just awesome. I mean, like big, heavy metal sculptures are like just the coolest. Anytime you go somewhere and there's like a big dude on a horse or something, like big bronze sculpture of a, you know, lion or whatever, just the coolest. Can't tell me that's not the coolest thing ever. At least it is to me. And I think bronze sculptures are the epitome of sculpture work. Marble also pretty amazing, but I would never. I don't have that kind of planning in me. I'm not much of a planner, as you can tell. I kind of just was like, what are we making today? Oh, it's gonna be a mermaid. I don't know. Um, but like the Renaissance artists that I studied in college were definitely like the inspo for becoming a metal artist and sticking with it. I could have gone a lot of different directions in college with sculpture. We did wood, we did glass, we did all the things. And honestly, bronze was just head and shoulders cooler than everything else. I gotta be honest. I know that's a personal opinion, but I fell in love with bronze in college and never looked back. I spent a lot of years not doing bronze because I couldn't pull it off. But we're back. We're back at least doing a little bit. I may end up hiring, an outside facility to cast larger things for me in the future. Like if I sculpt it and mold it, get it ready, and then send it off to somebody to do the scary part that I don't have the facilities for. Um, that's also an option that I've been kind of exploring, though it's really, 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 really expensive. Like really expensive. Um, for example, like a sculpture that's 10 inches tall would probably cost $2,000 to have cast by a foundry, which obviously is like not super attainable for small artists. I'm not just gonna like be casting bronze sculptures for thousands of dollars all the time just for them to sit around in my house and make me happy. Though it would make me happy. But you never know. I really hope that I get to that point. Or that I get brave enough to buy um, and a crucible um, that I can torch up outside. They do make those. Um, and they're kind of awesome. Like essentially it's like a giant graphite. I don't know what the word is. Um, Crucible is not really a word that your average person is like super familiar with, so trying to find a different one. um, it's like a cauldron. Like um, that you melt all your metal in. You just put a bunch of chunks of metal in this sucker, and it is like fire. There is just fire blasting at it, max heat, and the idea is to melt the metal in a container that you can then pick up and pour. And they're called crucibles typically. I don't know if there's another word I'm just forgetting, but um, you can um, hook them up to propane torches and just blast the hell out of these things in like your driveway or somewhere where you're not going to light something else on fire, ideally. And if you're brave enough and strong enough, that's another problem I have is also strength. Because if I decide to cast stuff on my own in my driveway or whatever, being strong enough to pick up a 2,000 degree Fahrenheit vat of bronze and pouring it with control is typically very hard to do with just one person, especially like a tiny little woman like me. In college, I was probably a lot stronger than I am now because I used to like heave ho huge sculptures around the studio. Um, Not that they were like huge, but they were, 50 pounders, which now it's like like this Little Mermaid woman would probably be, I don't know, a quarter of a pound, half of a pound in bronze. So I'm a little out of practice with being super duper strong, unfortunately. But could probably hire a dude or two for that. Um, Again, though, to hire people, you have to have money, so that's a problem. Um, that is a problem. All right. Have you hadn't noticed? Started to work on this lady's face. I'm giving her kind of like a relaxed vibe. I don't want to get too particular with facial features just yet because that's kind of a last something you do towards the end so that you don't mess up anything along the way here. But mainly we just want her face to have the right shape so that I can give her ears and some hair. I don't know what I want to do with her hair. She needs hair. Maybe like, I don't know, like a fun braid or something? Hmm. Let's see where it goes. I'm gonna just take a chunk of clay and just smash it in there. That's how I typically do stuff like that. Just smash it in there. And then you see a little shape. And then you go with it. I feel like this kind of sculpting is very intuitive. Like I said, I didn't plan anything that I'm doing today. I very briefly thought about making an elephant. Here it is. I got the base of the elephant mapped out. That was when Steve was with me at the very beginning there. And then I got really distracted with this little um chubby little mermaid woman who I'm just like totally enamored with. So distracted. Told you that would happen, didn't I? I did try to let everyone know it was extremely likely that I get off task. Because that's who I am as a person. Anywho, trying to soften up some clay for her hair, but it's like really freaking hard. I don't know if my hot stuff from earlier is still hot. Oh, it is a little bit. Alright. It's a tiny bit softer than what I was just working with. Not by much, but a little bit. I did see a video of a guy who uses this stuff. What about a floaty hairstyle like she's lounging? Okay, I like where you're coming from with that. Good tip. Okay, let's see. Floaty hairstyle. Good looking out. I like that. We're gonna go that route. All right, so now I gotta kind of give her a I'm picturing like almost like soft serve ice cream. Kind of like whoop. Um, Dole Whip, swirly, whatever. Um, let's see. See what we can make happen. She's gonna probably look like a Smurf initially because I have to just slap this little blob on top of her head in like a very haphazard way. But we're gonna go straight up because I think that's hilarious. Like Marge Simpson at first. Yeah, yep. It's funny. It's funny like I thought it would be. Okay. Kind of mash it onto her head. Okay. We're gonna use our heat to smear. We also now have enough wax to give her an ear, so I'm just gonna throw that in there. Give her a little. Do one of those. Okay. I feel like I probably could get closer. Let's get closer. That's as close as I can get, actually. Now we're out of focus. There we go. There we go. All right, we want to go up. Up and swirl. Oh no, my torch went out again. This little effer. See that? I'm keeping it PC for the kids. Trying. There's no way they're still watching. Probably all sleeping. They probably only watch the first 10 minutes and then like, Aerox is boring, and then they leave. Someday those children will appreciate how cool their Aunt Rox is. Someday. Or they're gonna think I'm a nut job until they're like 35, and then they're gonna be like, she was cool. Wonder what happened to her. Where did she go? I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna disappear. Or am I? I do daydream about disappearing like regularly. Not like from this plane of existence, but like, you know what I mean? Like from New York, specifically. Just, goodbye. See you later. Um, kind of a hellscape around here lately, I gotta be honest. But you never know. It could improve. Things could improve, right? I tell myself that. They could. It could happen. We don't know. Yeah. We've got some big life altering things going on this year that either they go well or they don't go well. And if they don't go well, the potentially disappearing um, might be more of a possibility. But I'm going to keep it vague like that for all of you because you're going to be like, don't worry about me, personal problems. All right. We're Marge Simpsoning here. Up from her neck. Oh no! Need more heat. Gotta mash that in there a little better. There we go. Sort of got a cone head thing going on here, but we're gonna change it. Don't worry. Trust the process, I think is what they say. Gonna work with a swirl, getting swirly. Push this one off to the side a little bit. She actually looks like a troll doll, which is so comical to me. I kind of love it. Troll doll meets underwater. Um, what are those things called? Anyone who took art history might know what I'm talking about. They were like they were like little women. They were always like fertility goddesses or whatever, but they were like little trinkets. Not the right word. I don't know. Back in the day, they had these little statues that were worshipped essentially. I studied them extensively in college, but do you think I remember what they were called? Of course not. That's some of that information that I flushed directly down the toilet once I graduated. I was like, why would I ever need to know this ever again? Goodbye, information. Cleared out some space in my brain with that. All right, we're gonna go. This is when we just kind of grab and smash. Grab and smash and twist. Yeah. All right. I feel like water, you get like sometimes some really aggressive angles when water smushes your hair around. It's not necessarily like a perfect smooth. Whatever. Boop, boop, boop. So we have one big swath here going this way. And I think I'm gonna need one more to go a different way. We don't want her to look like she has horns, but we want her to need something going on there. It's a little too troll-like. Maybe from the back or from the side? What are we thinking? I think a side here. More my speed. So Thursday night, I hope you guys are like having a relaxing evening. Those of you who join me, thank you. I don't know if I've done a Thursday night at all, or at least I haven't in a while. I feel like I usually go Sunday because Sunday just inherently has a more chill vibe than Thursday. Thursday seems to be kind of like, um, at least I always feel like I'm behind schedule on Thursdays. And I am behind schedule this Thursday. I haven't poured silver this week. Very behind on that. But I'm trying to do my best to take care of my brain. Because if I burn out, I'm not doing anything for a long time. And so we're going to try to avoid the burnout stage where I'm completely incapacitated and can't do anything. So, baby steps. This sculpting situation tonight is kind of a brain reset for me. It's like kind of fun, but also productive. So, of course, I'm not going to finish what I'm doing. So, I'm kind of adding another project to my plate. So, if I think of it that way, that's not wonderful. But I'm an artist. I'm supposed to have 75 projects open at a time. That is the name of the game. If you're not working on 75 things at once, you're doing it wrong. People that can start something and then finish that thing in a linear way, I don't trust those people. We are not the same at all. I gotta work on things like when the vibes are aligned. I gotta vibe with a project or it just doesn't happen. For example, if you've been here since the beginning of my live streams, like months and months ago, I was working on like a pretty dope little articulating dragon that I hit like a serious brick wall with because logistically I needed to solder a bunch of pieces together in a way that like I had never done before, and it kind of stressed me out. So, um, so true. Thank you for agreeing with me on that. I knew I wasn't alone. Um, but yeah, I I bailed pretty hard on that project because I didn't want to step outside of my comfort zone with the soldering. And the soldering, I know how to solder, but I don't like doing it because every time you solder something, you gotta freaking clean the whole thing again. It's all covered in friggin' fire scale, and you gotta pickle it, and then you gotta all do it all again. And this particular piece needed like hands and wrists and things. There was like joints that I had like posts that needed to go through, and then they need to be soldered. Um, Overall, quite complicated for what was supposed to be fun. So it stopped being fun, and when it stopped being fun, I was like, okay, I'm over this. Though it is still on my desk, and I'm telling you, when I finish it, it's gonna be glorious, and I will finish it someday. Someday, the vibes, like I said, the vibes will just hit that day, and I'm gonna be like, you know what? Today's the day, folks. We're doing this, and um, then you're all gonna be like, why on earth did you do this very complicated project for no reason? Because there is zero chance that I'm gonna make more than one. So I'm really just gonna make the one for myself because I wanted to do it. It's really more a project that was like, I feel like doing this, so I'm going to do this. Um, Definitely not like something that'll be on my website or whatever at any point. So you're gonna love it and then be sad that it will never be available to anyone but me. Sorry about that. Sorry in advance for that disappointment that is coming your way. But you'll get to see it, and I will make it do little dances. Probably film a little stop motion video here or there, which would be adorable. All right. Exactly. This is very true. That's what I mean when I say that when the vibes are right. It is renewed excitement. I would agree. Another way to put it for sure. Every once in a while, something I completely forgot I was even working on, like I'll just stumble upon part of it on my desk and be like, hell yeah, we're gonna do this today, and then we do that day. Then it happens, okay? And that's the best when that happens. And then you're like, yes, I finished the thing. It only took me 7 years. It's fine. Nobody was watching. It's totally fine. I definitely have one of those like personality types where I forget like entire. I would say half a decade can go by before I acknowledge that like that much time has passed. I'll be like, oh yeah, no, that was last spring, and someone will be like, that was 2014. I'm like, no, no, stop it. Um, I guess I have read that it's called time blindness, and apparently it's a real thing. I always thought that I was just exaggerating, not having a clue what time or a day or year it ever was, but clinically it's a thing. And I bet it's really relatively common with artists because we all have that like um, innate uh, ability to completely lose track of time to an uncanny degree. Like forget to eat, forget to go pee. I can do that for days. If I didn't have to eat or sleep, oh my god, I can't even tell you. The level of productivity would be through the roof if I didn't have to get up, do boring, monotonous things like sleep. Oy. God, I hate sleeping. I mean, I love sleeping, but I hate how necessary it is to sleep. Like, why? Why were humans designed this way? Seems like a flaw in the system that we have to power down for 8 hours. You know what I mean? Amateurs. Sure, there's people out there who like hacked their brains and can sleep for like 3 hours a night and be like totally functional. In which case, good for those people, because that'd be amazing, but not me. I don't really get sleepy though. Like, I have to be told it's time to go to bed. And then once I realize it's time to go to bed, I'm like, ooh, you know what? Yes, I am tired. Correct. Bedtime. All right. Kind of love her hair. Who's with me? Hair's kind of dope. She's got kind of like a um, Bride of Frankenstein, Marge Simpson mashup that I'm totally into. Loving it. Big fan. mm, back, I would say some years ago, I probably had something like that where I would wake up every day and not feel rested at all. And um, it kind of panned out for me into being more of an anxiety thing, like always in fight or flight, and I couldn't relax to a point where like I couldn't fall asleep and get any kind of deep sleep. I would just toss and turn all night long. Um, though I am happy to say that I'm doing way better now, and I actually sleep like hard now. And I'm not really sure what exactly changed there for me, but like when I was younger, like college, oh my god, I never slept. It was very weird. Um, but yeah, I felt like I needed to sleep, and I would just lay in bed and be like, I would just want to get up and go do something because it seemed like you said, like you're wasting time laying there. Like you could be doing something else even though you know you're supposed to be sleeping. But when I was in college, I would stay up ungodly hours. I would just work through the night because my like circadian rhythm is totally wrong. I think still to this day it is probably completely wrong because I am more active at night and I always have been that way. Which I'm fine with. It works to my advantage as an artist because it doesn't matter that I can't get myself out of bed before 10 a.m. I guess if I had kids and stuff, it probably would be a problem then for sure. Um, but luckily, let me just knock on wood really quick. Luckily, luckily I do not have children. Thank the Lord in heaven for that. Um, People with kids, bless your hearts. I don't know how you do it. I thrive on not having any kind of a schedule. Like I do what I want to do when I feel motivated to do it. And that is critical for my survival, I would say. I would be doing poorly um, if I was like forced to function at an hour that I am non-functional. Which in parts of my life I have done that, working jobs where I was supposed to be there at a certain time or whatever, and whew, that was rough. We're never going back there. Don't make me go back. Never again. Um, I guess that's why I like made the self-employment thing work for me. There was really no choice. It was like this or death, pretty much. Like, I know that seems dire, but it's like kind of true to a certain extent. Like, um, the whole 9 to 5 thing was like so dysregulating for me that like I think it might have actually driven me to real levels of madness. Like institutionalized amounts of crazy. And that would not have been good. Her little freaking ear is causing me some trouble here. I keep putting it like kind of in the wrong spot. That one over there looks fine. Do do. Um, yeah, I kind of love our little lady. I love her. She's cool. I think we need to adjust this side of her face a little though. She's not very symmetrical here. It's so quiet in here. Are you a fan of the hair? Good. I'm glad you like it. I like it too. I like this little angle here. I feel like I have a lot of like Art Nouveau source material living in my brain from just my entire life of seeing tons of Art Nouveau work. And my favorite thing about Art Nouveau is hair and fabric, the way it moves. It's not like a smooth. There's never a smooth flow. There's always like a pretty aggressive, like kind of flare one direction before it swirls back the other way, which is very that's a very Art Nouveau style that I think was just they nailed it. You know, it was one of those beautiful, unique, signature kind of things where you could, you know, recognize it from a mile away. You're like, okay, that's what they're doing there. It's very elegant, but very specific. Um, I definitely try to draw a lot of inspiration from Art Nouveau sculpture, because it's just my favorite. It's so pretty and swirly. There's no better hair in the art world than in that time period of art, in my personal opinion. Oh, oh my lord! It's almost 9 o'clock already. Hmm. Hmm. Well, I mean, I guess we've made a lot of progress here. This lady's got. I like the curve of her back. I think it's very natural. She's probably a little thick right here, to be honest. I think that might be a little too thick. Slim her down a tiny bit here. Follow the flow of her butt here. And there's a little crease here that I think would probably be a hip crease with a belly. I think. Without having somebody in front of me to look at, it's kind of a, again, pulling source material from my brain. Every time I've ever seen a woman, curvy woman, lying on her side. Not that that's a regular thing for me, but um, I think that's one of the special things about my brain that maybe is not something other people experience. I can picture things I've seen a very, very, very long time ago and use it as a reference photo in real time without actually having to pull reference photos. Um, which is why I think if I had a chance to sculpt from life again, I think I would kill it. I think it'd be so fun because there's a real reference in front of my face instead of right now where I'm like, I'm kind of digging through the archives of my brain um, for where the location of creases and things like that because it's been a while since I had a nude lady sitting in front of me, but I do remember. I remember enough. Looks like I might have accidentally taken a little bit too much off of her belly, so we're going to put a little bit right back here again, under her hand, which the details of her fingers, stuff like that's going to have to be another day because I don't have it in me, I gotta be honest. But I would say from nothing to where we're at now, we made some good progress here. She's cool. I like her. I like her hair. I like her posture. Um, yeah, I think we have a little, maybe too aggressive of a bend right there. It's a little better. Do. Yeah, I think she's a cutie. She's a cutie pie. Cutie patootie. She probably needs a little more hair. Maybe one more here. We're just gonna, that one will just be a little, what's the word? Quaff? No, quaff's not the right word. Maybe it is, I don't know. Kind of like give the back of her head some shape. We don't want to flatten out the back of her head. She is cute though. I have a really weird, old woman who was somehow part of my family. I don't know. This is a weird tie-in. The segue here is weird. Her name was Norma, and she collected miniatures. She died kind of a while ago. But left all of her miniatures to me and my sisters, and they're all stored away somewhere. But not that long ago, I was trying to help my dad organize the workshop where we had all this stuff stored, and I came across these little children mermaids, little kid mermaids that were probably from the 20s. They're little ceramic kids that were mermaids, and they were so cute and um kind of chubby. So maybe my brain, that might be where my brain is pulling the posture for this lady because the little chubby kid mermaids were so freaking cute. I don't know where I put them. I definitely pulled them aside because I didn't want them to get sold or something. They're somewhere, and I want to put them in a curio cabinet or something someday in memory of Norma. I think she would love that. Wherever she is in the cosmos. I think she'd be a big fan. All right. Last little bit of repositioning here. I feel like boobs are a little uneven. You want to work on that. Not that that really matters that much, to be honest, but the boobs are out. You might as well make them nice. Right? All right, a little better. It's gonna be tricky to get in the belly area and smooth that out because her hand's currently in the way. I might have to chop off her hand, just so I can work on her belly adequately. But again, for another day. I've been working for almost 2 hours. I'm a little tired, not gonna lie. I have a bit of a headache today. Forgot to drink water all freaking day long. Supposed to be drinking this. Okay. I feel like her face maybe also still not very symmetrical. I really wish I could listen to some music in here, but alas, not allowed. Not allowed by the YouTubes. Kind of a bummer. Maybe next time I'll try to find some, what's it called? Like Zen background music. Going with some Art Nouveau angle here. Flat, curve. Whoopsies. Almost started a fire. Keep forgetting this stuff is flammable. PSA. Flammable. Folks. Don't leave your knife in the fire for too long unless you want it to catch on fire. And if you're thinking, like, why would it not catch on fire when you put it in the flame? Listen, I normally work with wax, in which case it actually does not catch on fire. You can leave that thing in the flame till it is red hot and it will just melt off and drip away. It won't just combust. Like, this stuff will, like, combust in front of your face. But I am learning that. I think maybe one or two more small fires, and I will have learned the lesson. Um, you know, one or two more fires, we're good. So far, the fires have been minimal. Only one had to be brought into another room and extinguished. Normally, I can just go ah and smack it, and it's fine. Um, Luckily, we have not had to do that today, so that's good. But you know, I do wipe my tool on a paper towel, which is also not a good idea when the thing that is on the knife is flammable, because paper towels are also flammable. Fun story. All right. Okay, so I like the back of her head now. It's got more shape to it. See that? She's got a head. So, perfect. That's what we wanted. Cut down the back of her neck a little. Sides. I like her. I like her a lot. Let's see how she sits. Kind of perfect. I'm not gonna toot my own horn. I kind of love the way she sits. Very adorable. Somebody told me recently that there's something called like tea pats, which I don't know what culture that's from exactly, where like you have little sculptures essentially that you have on your table with you while you're having tea, I guess. But I feel like she kind of has some vibes, like she could be chilling on the table with you while you drink some green tea. I don't know if I want to put a scaly texture on her tail or if I just want to give her like texture with my knife. Because I think that could also be really lovely in bronze. Maybe keep it kind of minimal. Like that. That might be kind of pretty. Face. Go back to her face. I wasn't quite done with that when I got distracted by it. I think the problem here is that I need chin angle. There we go. Forehead is definitely not even. Back on that a little bit more. Okay. Yep. Delightful. Oh, I should really be moving a little bit more. Okay. But I'm not. Can't make me. Alright. Checking her from both sides to make sure she looks kind of the same. Eyes are one of those things that are always very tricky because you're like, do we want to give her a creepy ass stare? Not really. So trying to give a soft expression where the eyes aren't necessarily a strong look. We just want gentle. Maybe your eyes are closed. She's just chilling. She's relaxing on the ocean floor. You know, as mermaids do. Just gonna give her like a really soft eye. Now, the question is, can I do that again on the other side? What's her name? Oh gosh, I don't know. I hadn't even thought about it. She does need one, doesn't she? Open to suggestions, I would say. I hadn't really thought about it. Since she was an unplanned child. I hadn't really thought about it. I haven't been brainstorming mermaid baby names. Let's see. I don't know. She needs a good name, though. I agree that a name is necessary. See if I can put a little. Whoops. Took off a piece of her nose. I want her nose to turn up a little bit. There we go. That's cute. Cute little nose. Hmm. Like this eyebrow's a little more judgmental than this one. Pull that out a little bit. Kind of down into her cheekbone a little. And pull her eyes back a little bit with her hairline. Oh, I have smashed her mouth a little bit. So I gotta fix that. Probably pushed on it at some point with my tools and didn't know that I did that. But we still want her to have a very soft expression, so I'm not gonna get crazy putting it back. I'm just gonna push it back to where it was. I'm not gonna add more. There. Damn. I literally just made myself dizzy after focusing so hard. Hey. Oh, take a sec. Stretch my eyeballs and my arms. Oh boy. Oof. Yep. Yep. Well, the whole point of this was to make somebody to go on top of this little thing. And she's way too big. I think she's her own thing now. I'm afraid. Maybe at some point I'll revisit the elephant to sit on top of the thing. She's definitely like really just become her own thing, very much so. And I'm fine with that. I like her very much. I think she's adorable. I'm enjoying the soft edges and the soft expressions. She's obviously not based on anybody, but I really am getting the itch to sculpt somebody I know. I'm hoping my husband will let me sculpt him. I think obviously he's the only person I see regularly enough. So but I think him sitting still might be hard. I might have to like allow him a video game controller or something. Because I don't know if he can sit still for 2.5 hours. Actually, I know he will not sit still for 2.5 hours. Fact. That ain't happening. I love him dearly, but he does not have 2 hours of silent contemplation in him. Just not gonna happen. I mean, I could probably put a movie on or something. That would work. Alright, there we got our little ears. Maybe I'll leave them kind of ambiguously. The top of them kind of like, maybe they're pointy, maybe they're not, we don't know. We need a little crease here where her neck meets the top of her head, or back of her head. Oh yeah. We're doing good. I like her. She's got kind of a sweet face. I think I need a little teeny tiny bit. Like this. Because trying to mimic the other side, and her eyelid is kind of flared up a little on the inside edge. Whoops. Moved a little aggressive there. Didn't quite go as planned. There we go. Move that down. There we go. That's what I was going for. Perfect. All right. I've learned recently that less is more when it comes to mouths and lips. You almost never want to add clay or whatever it is that you're using. You just want to push it around. You want to move where there would be a little extra tissue in a bottom lip. You're not going to add that there because you don't need to. You just need to push it around. You know what I mean? Okay. You're probably like, what is she talking about? And I'm sorry if I probably don't make sense to most people. You probably have no idea what I'm talking about. One of those things you gotta be in it. You gotta be in it to win it, I guess. But any of you have tried to ever sculpt. Or maybe you sculpt all the time. I don't know. I don't know your lives. You might know what I mean. Not always about building up. I think the main reason I like this clay so much is because it allows for such subtle removal of material. I'm used to using wax, which is so much softer that like me just holding on to her, if she were made out of wax, she'd be getting smashed. Good. Yes, I assume most of my viewers are also artists. I'm glad you know what I'm talking about and that I don't sound like I'm talking nonsense. So you do know what I mean with the subtleties of different materials. This particular material is just so nice for anybody who likes to carve but doesn't want to be limited by that finality of wood or stone or anything that you carve that you can't put back, essentially. I've never been able to do that because it just seems like way too much on the line. I respect people who do that so much, though. Very impressive stuff. If you can be like mega confident in every one of your chisel strokes, that's crazy impressive. I'm not that confident. I need the ability to go back. I need to be able to put it back if I mess it up. Doing a little boob sculpting here. I feel like this arm also is going to be a little too round on this side. Oops. Need a little heat. There we go. A little more straight up and down. She's holding her weight on that, so this is where that little background of anatomy probably helps me out. I used to sculpt bodies, and anatomically correct ones at that, which was not fun. I mean, it was kind of fun, but not fun like this. This is fun. But I got really familiar with the human skeleton and the muscles and whatnot when it comes to certain positions and all of that. Which, if you are going to be sculpting a lot of people or humanoids, I suppose, like her, um, anatomy, get some books on it because it will help you tremendously. It may seem really, really boring, but I'm telling you, knowing where bones are helps a great deal with things looking correct when it's all said and done. Can never get the hang of reductive mediums. Addition feels safer. Yeah, for sure. I think in general, addition it makes more sense. It's like you said, it's safer. But that combo, that sweet spot of being able to do both, I gotta say, delightful. If you've never tried Monster Clay, check it out. I got this brick of it for, I honestly don't know. I'm gonna say it was like $40, but sounds like a lot. But supposedly you can like melt this down and reuse it indefinitely. It's not one of those things that's like ruined once you use it to make a mold or something. Um, so in theory, you could just sculpt and then make your molds and then recycle the clay and then use it again and use it again forever and ever. Um, I am definitely, I would say, too lazy for that. I'm bound to just leave everything that I've sculpted in its current form and just leave all the models all over my house and just buy more clay because the recycling element seems like a lot of work personally. But supposedly big time sculptors and like special effects people use this clay. Sorry, I've got little chunks of clay all over my pants. Um, it's a special effects specific clay, I think. But this is like the second time I've used it. I've been a wax sculptor, I guess, for the last 12 years, and have not touched any clay because I find it to be very annoying. I don't like the feeling of it on my hands. This stuff is not on my hands at all. Which is amazing. Like, look how clean my hands are. I would be a spokesperson for this clay if I could be. That's how much I'm enjoying it. It may be a very serious game changer for me in my career, to be honest, because I was looking for something that I could sculpt larger scale. I recently did a sculpture that was like a tabletop size sculpture for a show, and I sculpted that in wax, in casting wax. Um, what a mess. I mean, every time I use that casting wax, it is like caked on my hands, and it just doesn't come off. Like it just does not come off. You have to wipe it off onto a towel or something, and then you have to like degrease your hands forever, and it still leaves a film. And it's a film, it leaves a film on everything it touches. So like the tables and all of my tools, everything's covered in wax. Um, I liked the way the sculpture came out, but I think had I used this type of clay, the I could have achieved a much better detail work because wax for sure. Um, it's super temperature sensitive to a point that depending on like the air temperature and how hot your hands are getting, like you can kind of mess up your sculpture without realizing you're doing it just because you're like holding it weird or you know what I mean, like anything like that. Where this is so hard, but my hands are not messing up. I only messed up her face a tiny bit by smushing my hand against it really hard, but otherwise it seems like it's very sturdy, which I love. I'm really into it. Being able to hold and maneuver a sculpture without worrying about mangling the details is definitely um, something that is always on my mind. Like, how can I do a better job of not totally destroying the thing I'm working on by holding it wrong? And I've actually thought even that I might want to try making some jewelry with this. I know that's totally unorthodox and like, who cares? What is what is normal or correct in art, anyways? I think I could make some really cool detailed pendants and potentially open up a whole new door of possibilities for jewelry making if I use this as a medium because I can hold on to it so much more readily than typical jewelry wax. But I guess a lot of people use a harder jewelry wax. I've never gotten on board with the harder one because, like you said, it's very reductive. You can't put it back. The wax is like so hard it kind of flakes off like soap. Um, I would only know that because when I was a kid and trying to find anything I could possibly use to sculpt, I on occasion sculpted bars of soap that I stole from the bathroom, um, which my parents were fine with, I guess. I don't know. Um, they never yelled at me about it, so it must have been fine. What was that noise? One second. Yuki, what are you doing? Nothing to see here. I heard something and thought my dog was like getting into trouble. And then I popped my head downstairs and he's like sleeping like an angel on the couch. I'm like, oh, my bad. Sorry for accusing you of wrongdoing. He just looked up at me. He didn't even move. He just moved his eyes like, what do you want, lady? Oh, funny. I said I wasn't going to work on her hands, but here we are. Just going to rough them in because I'm already here, you know what I mean? Um, already here. Why not? Hands are another one that like friggin' love sculpting hands. It's one of my favorite things. I also love drawing hands. It's been a long time since I had a hand model. Someone I could spy on their hands. I used to be like that weirdo in college who would like bring my sketchbook to a party and like sketch my friend holding a beer can, and they'd be like, "Why are you staring at me?" And I'm like, "Don't worry about it. Just keep holding that beer can." Nobody thought I was weird. They knew what I was doing. I'm not gonna get crazy with her hands right now because I ain't got that kind of time. But just basic shape so we can see her in her entirety before we go to bed. You know. Now she's got a little hand. She's got some fingers. I would say she needs some shape to her hand because it's like it just goes straight from arm to hand and she's got no wrist and that's weird. So we're gonna give her a wrist. Make sure it doesn't look like a little beefy baby arm. Phantom Mischief. I like that. But I mean, I think I like that name when it pertains to like truly nobody's doing anything. After I check them and like everybody's being chill, I'm like, what? What are you guys doing? What is that noise? What did I hear? And quite honestly, it's like one of the reasons I insist on having animals in my house is because um, when there are not animals in a house and you hear crazy noises, you're like, no, thank you. That's there. It's 100% ghosts. If you don't have a dog getting into some shit, there's no other explanation. It's ghosts, I guess. And I would rather lie to myself and be like, oh yeah, no, definitely the dog, definitely not ghosts. Um, you know, I need that. I need that lie. All right. It doesn't matter at all that I'm sculpting the underside of her hand because you can't see it, but I'm going to do it anyways because that's who I am. Yes, exactly. Like, plausible deniability. I agree. There's always an explanation that I am going to go with, even if maybe it's not the right one. I don't care. I'm going to lie to myself about it to make myself feel better. Just, I have to. Have to let me have that. I am a big old scaredy cat. Um, Always have been. Really, really don't love. Well, when I was younger, I really didn't like being home alone, and I'm a little worried about that because we're supposed to be moving out like into the country, which is where I grew up, and it was scary as hell in the middle of the night when you're by yourself because there is nothing out there but like coyotes and bears, and yeah, I guess we're just luckily we will still have a house full of animals, and that will be I will tell myself every time I hear something crazy that it's not a bear, it's the cat. We're good, everything's good. But for sure, there's gonna be some moments of panic for me. Did I not say I wasn't gonna get crazy into working on her hand? And here I am. I'm sorry, lying to you again. It's just who I am. I'm a liar. I'm not a liar. I don't know why I said that. I'm a liar when it comes to lying to myself. I lie to myself all the time. I don't lie to other people, but I lie to myself. I'll be like, this'll be fine. Everything's fine. Lie. uh, I love that I have no idea who the other three people are who are watching me. Like, it could be literally anyone. I'm just over here, like, talking total nonsense. 9:30 on a Thursday. That's the one thing about the, like, um, public live streams. It's like, I don't have a clue who's watching me. It's a little weird, but also kind of fun. Like, hey y'all, I hope it's somebody cool. I hope it's like one of my friends who's just, watching for fun or has me on in the background while they're knitting or something like that. Also would be fun. That's what I hope for this whole thing in general is that like you guys have your phone or your computer or something next to you and you're just like doing something fun and listening to me jabber on about how great Monster Clay is. I love it. It's the coolest. Go get some. I'm not a paid sponsor, but I would do that in a heartbeat if they were like, hey, we'll pay you money. I'd be like, yes, I will tell the world about how great this product is because it's the best. Especially if you're behind the times. You're a sculptor like me who's been using the wrong material for 20 years. Life changing, telling you. Okay. She's got one hand, which looks pretty good. I like it. Gave her a little bit of a wrist so she's not so shapeless in her little arms. But she's still got like very chunky. This forearm is very chunky. We're going to take it down a notch because it's a little much. Oops, I smushed her thumb. That's why I was not supposed to do her hands yet because I knew I was going to mess them up. You're building a trinket shelf. Nice. I freaking love those. I love how different they all are. I have seen some like really cool ones. I've saved a whole bunch of them on Pinterest because I'm like kind of obsessed. Obviously, I'm like a purveyor of trinkets, so in my own home, I really should have one, but I right now we're like in the middle of moving and we don't have anything anywhere, which is why the room that I'm sitting in is like essentially empty. There's nothing in my studio right now except for my giant fern. Oh, it's back there, which I'm trying to keep alive through the winter because um, I love it and we've had it for like almost 10 years and I'm like not gonna let this sucker die. But other than my fern, there's nothing in my house. Nothing fun, at least. There's no furniture. But I'm gonna have. I'm definitely gonna get some trinket shelves as soon as humanly possible because they're awesome. What are you making your trinket shelf out of? Might I ask? Curious. Oops, I'm not in frame anymore. Well, there's 5 people here now. Hello. Hello, whoever you are. I wonder where you guys came from. I tried to put up on all the interwebs where that I was going to be live streaming. Um, and of course, it was like not easy. The internet does not want people to direct them to other places. If you know what I mean by that. Um, like social media hates you. If you're like, hey, check out my page, they're like, no. We will be hiding this from everyone. Don't you dare tell them about this other thing. No. No, thank you. You saw the email. Nice. Scrap wood. Old chair parts. Oh, okay. That's creative. I like that. So, like antique pieces of wood that probably, I'm assuming the slats have some shape to them that is going to give your shelf some, like, a vibe. It's not just, they're not just flat pieces of wood, I assume. Though, even if they were, I'm sure it would still be cool. I wish I had it in me to do woodworking. My dad is a woodworker, so like he kind of ruined it for me. Not that he ruined it for me, that's not the right way of putting it, but I just don't really feel like doing wood related stuff because um, he is covered in wood sawdust all the time. Like my childhood home was just like a big mess of dirt and sawdust. He's a slob. Bit of a slob. If he's watching this, sorry, Dad, but it's true. You're a bit of a slob. The sawdust everywhere. Not my vibe at all. I like the idea of using trash. I love that. I am morally opposed to new furniture in any capacity. Um, I not only do I hate it like with a passion, but um, I just think that like creative people can just you can take either, a piece of furniture that's damaged that used to be something else is, still has beautiful parts to it and and turn it into something else that's usable and like is still way better quality than buying a new thing that's probably made of like at best particle board. You know what I'm saying? I can't stand that like composite furniture vibe. Oh my god, I hate it so much. Um, but again, my dad, that's mostly my dad's fault because he's an antique furniture guy, and our house was always like full of beautiful antique furniture all the time. So like, I'm very, very biased when I see like a modern piece of furniture. I'm like, ugh, no, that shit out of my face. I want the old good stuff. It better be solid wood or it's useless to me. That's my personal thoughts on furniture. All right, I gave her back on track here. I gave her her other hand now has fingers. Um, Still need to give some more shape to her a little bit here. But shaping up. She's got a wrist. Wrists are good. I think this crevice in general here needs to be a little more shaped. Maybe some fire for that. There we go. But yeah, I like her. I like her a lot. I think she's gonna be dope in bronze. Um, Antique rocking chair. Okay, yeah. Whole bunch of parts. So yeah, yeah. Plus art. Perfect. See, that's like you're doing it right. I approve. I approve of this message. That's what we should all be doing. Um, Using that like when something's broken, people like throw away these like beautiful curved wood or like things that have little intricate carvings in them or even just like chairs with cool feet or whatever. You're like, you could do something cool with that. Like instead of these straight ass chairs with their straight ass legs and no feet and boring shape, um, give them life. Breathe life into some older stuff. I love that. I can't wait to have a house full of like weird antique stuff that is like hodgepodge back together. My husband's gonna hate it, but I'm gonna be so happy. He might not hate it. I don't know. I don't think he actually has very strong feelings about any of it, which helps because I have very strong feelings about all of it. And we can't both have really strong feelings about it because that would just never work out. So I think he's kind of just like, yeah, whatever makes you happy. He doesn't care. And that's one of the reasons he's the best. He's just like, yep, sure. I told him I want to put a gargoyle on top of our house, and he was like, okay. That's love right there, folks. The man's gonna let me put a gargoyle on top of our house. No sane person would agree to that. Unless he knows it's gonna genuinely make me happy, which it will, because I will sculpt that gargoyle myself. And it will protect our home till the day we die, okay? It will. All right. So she's got one hand that is much bigger than the other hand. I'm realizing. But that's an easy fix. I'm not worried about that. I shouldn't say easy fix. It's not easy at all. I have to either take a lot off of one hand or add a whole bunch onto the other hand. I guess they aren't that big, that different in size. Just a little bit. I'm gonna move that finger over a little because it looks kind of crazy sticking up like that. Okay, there. What do we think? Which hand looks more appropriate? I think this smaller one. So I think her big hand needs to shrink. Take away some of that. And then we just chop some fingers. That's all we gotta do, I think. Top of her hand. And just go, goodbye, Pinky. You're too big. Utilize my fingernails a little bit here. I really need to stop soon. It's getting very late. Anybody who tries to watch this live stream later is going to be like, dear God, it's 3 hours long? What on earth? And I'm going to go, yep. Got really obsessed with the little mermaid lady. Should have seen it coming from a mile away, folks. Do you even know me? Do you even know me? I hope now at this point you guys are getting to know me better, so you like can see where things are gonna go from any starting point. You're gonna be like, oh yeah, she's gonna be doing this for 3 hours, and it's also probably going to change into a completely different thing than where it started from. Because that's how we roll around here. That is how we roll. Ooh, I gave myself a weird cramp. Shake it out. Weird cramp. Don't do that. Don't hold your hand like that. You guys heard of flossing your nerves? I have like a weird nerve in my hand that's always pinched, and I need to floss it on the reg because I'm always holding my hand at weird angles. Oops, I think my husband is home. He's gonna be like, oh my God, you're still doing this? Yep, he's home. Also, he's gonna scold me for not eating dinner. Oh no. Oh well. I was supposed to eat dinner before this, technically. Yep. I'm now realizing I am hungry though, so my bad. Should have eaten earlier. I'm gonna be having a midnight dinner at midnight tonight. All right, I shrunk her hand a little bit, which I think it looks better now. I do also need to add a little or leave a little bit of girth to it because If she's gonna have that down on the table, needs to have a little, you know, it needs to prop her up, technically. All right. Oops. All right. Well, cool. I like her. I do need to work on the position a little better with her hand. Does seem a little weird, but overall, it's kind of cute. Pretty good vibe. All right. I should probably wrap it up before I get yelled at. If there are really 4 people here, thank you. I'm glad you like her. I am so pleased. So far. I'm gonna have to dive in again tomorrow and get some more details, but I will for sure when I finish her post more pictures and stuff on Patreon. Mostly Patreon is where I post, like progress stuff of like this nature. Until it's completely finished, and then it might end up somewhere else. But trying to put more stuff on YouTube. So anybody who's watching, if you're not following me on YouTube already, subscribed, whatever it's called, please do that because I'm planning on pivoting away from social media, meta, I should say, and doing more YouTube stuff because I like the vibe over here better. I think you know what I mean. Okay. But anyways, okay. I gotta stop myself. I really need to go eat. My husband's gonna yell at me. Okay. Thank you guys for coming. It's been lovely. I hope you enjoyed watching me impromptu sculpt this curvy mermaid woman who was completely unplanned. And I love her. She's very cool. I'm so happy with her. Maybe next time or at a different time, I will finally find something to put on top of this. Maybe tomorrow. I don't know. I don't know. Thank you. You are welcome. Back at you. I will try to enjoy my dinner. Thank you for coming and keeping me company. It's been lovely. And anybody else who is not in the chat that happens to also be watching, thank you for coming. I hope you learned something and had fun watching me make something weird. It's my favorite thing to do. Okay, I have to sign off. I have to go eat. See you next time, folks. Thank you. Bye.